Hey, 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 how you doing? I'm super excited to be here. Welcome to Temple Talk Live. It is powered by Restoration from Within. I'm super excited to be here. I just wanted to make sure that I am live also on Instagram. I don't know what's going on, but we apply the blood of Jesus over it. But anyways, without further ado, this is our one of our third part series, our 4-part series, and this is the third show. I'm getting myself together of how to love on ourselves in this season for the month of February. So without further ado, today we're going to continue our series, and today we're going to talk about, in our Temple Talk Live, we're going to be discussing on how to honor our temples and also to love our temples as well. So I don't know if y'all follow me on Instagram and on the Instagram streets, but I will be going into a little bit further detail about what went down in the Instagram streets. And that's why I was hoping that I would be able to go live. I don't know what's going on with the live, but let me just go ahead and just give me a moment here real quick. While you are patiently waiting for me to make these technical corrections, please, by all means, please let me know where you're tuning in from right now so that I am able to. Oh, it won't let me change it. It won't let me edit it. Okay. All right. Well, I tried to. All right. So, anyways, okay. So let me know what you're tuning in from. If you're catching the replay, please let me know. If this is your first time, let me be able to introduce myself now. My name is Kat Pons. I am the restoration coach at Restoration from Within, where I help busy moms like you renew your mind, refire your spirit, and restore your temple. And so if you're new here, please, by all means, I introduce myself. Introduce yourself by placing a hashtag new so that I can properly say hi to you as well. So get your notepads, because today I'm really going to go in. I'm going to share a lot of the practical sides, but also and marry it with, of course, the spiritual side of things so that we can come together. And yes, I'm going to give you the tea of what went down on the Instagram streets. Yes, and we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was glorifying God in spirit and in body, right? Because one of the things that we talked about, that the heading is identifying, is how to honor and love on our temples. So God directed me to 1 Corinthians 6 and 12. 1 Corinthians 6 and 12. I'm going to put it in the comment section. 1 Corinthians 6 and 12. And so in that, he directed me to read the Application Bible. It's one of the best Bibles that I've ever encountered. And so I wanted to show you 1 Corinthians 6 and 12, 1 Corinthians 6 and 12. And so that's one of the Bibles that I love to read to get a better versions of the Bible, to get a better understanding and know how to apply it to my life. And so I wanted to read the verse to you. So it's 1 Corinthians, 6 and 12 and 13. 1 Corinthians 6, 12 and 13. 1 Corinthians 6, 12 and 13. All right, so I'm reading the Passion Translation. And so it says, it's true that our freedom allows us to do anything, but that doesn't mean that everything we do is good for us. I'm free to do as I choose, but I choose to never be enslaved to anything. Some have said, I eat to live and I live to eat, but God will do away with all. The body was not created for, and this really, the context behind it was about illicit sex, but we're going to expound on that. But to serve and worship our Lord Jesus, who can fill the body with himself, right? And so outside of the illicit sex, right? One of the things that we want to know and understand is that the variation of the KJV version of this, it says, is to glorify God in spirit and in body, right? And so we've talked about how we glorify God in spirit. and how we increase our capacity to love him when we discussed that in our previous temple talk. So now we're going to combine both of them and to see the importance of it, right? And so the application Bible, the NKG version, states many of the world's religion teach that the soul and the spirit, it's and I'm paraphrasing and I'm coming, is that the spirit and the soul is much more important than taking care of the body. And unfortunately, we have seen those belief systems be depicted in the church, in the Christian belief. And so, and it has influenced our ideas. However, we are created in God's image, and God is is Trinity, right? God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit, right? Holy Spirit. And so, because we're made in His image, we are also triune or tripartite being, which tri means three, which is soul, spirit, and body. And when we apply those things or use them to be a pillar of our belief system, of our foundation, what happens is that we're applying irrational beliefs, and we're also applying a faulty foundation, because it's us as a whole that we need to take care of ourselves, and that's so important, right? And I like when she says, at the heart of Christianity is the story of God Himself taking on the flesh and blood and coming to live with us, offering us both spiritual healing and spiritual restoration. So when this happened, this is where our freedom came into place, right? We were marked by freedom by our Christian faith when we got saved. And so this gave us freedom from sin and guilt. This gave us freedom for us to use and enjoy with anything that comes from God. But how many of us know that just because it's good doesn't mean that it's God, right? And just because it's okay to do, we should not abuse that freedom. And so we need to be careful what God has us to enjoy, and it doesn't become, what I like it where it says here, a bad habit that controls us. It becomes an idol. So I started off here with this because we have to have a good understanding that just as our spirit and our soul affects our body affects or impacts our spirits and our soul. And that's why we need to honor our bodies as God's temple. And once we do that, what happens is the transfiguration comes into place, or the transformation, I should say. I apologize. The transformation of our perception, our minds is renewed into what really matters, right? We understand, and we have a powerful understanding that we have to honor our bodies as God's temples. And once that comes into place, that's where the renewing and the transformation comes into place, that we place, because of that, we learn to love our bodies, right? And it increases at an exponential rate. And so that's where our actions, we show our actions by loving our bodies. And that's what brings us into our next point, right? So our next point is, we're going to cover how about 2 or 3 aspects of how to take care of, how to love on our bodies. But let's be real, sis, right? In the midst of us, I have here, the first thing that we need to do is just go back to God's original plan for our lives. Whenever my life is chaotic, whenever there's too much going on, and I'm really feeling the pressures of this world, that's a clear indicator. I just had a wellness workshop, a private wellness workshop with an amazing group, the Jesus, Java, and Jammies community. We woke up early in the morning, and this is one of the aspects that we talked about, that what a clear indicator of you are, that you're not attached to the source, which is God, is due to the fact that, you feel the chaos. You feel that your eyes are not on God. The distractions have displaced you from what truly matters, right? And so, that can happen. For me, when it happens, that's a clear indicator. And I was telling the ladies as well, that's a clear indicator that we need to plug into the source again, right? We need to come back to our first love and to God's original plan for our lives. I have here, being a mom, a mompreneur, a stay-at-home mom, or a working mom, a teacher, a chauffeur, a nurse, right? We got to fix them boo-boos, right? A friend, a servant at church, or a leader at church. Listen, a fixer, right? Plain old being a fixer and a jack of all trades takes a toll on us, right? It does take a toll on us. And so it feels like our job is never done because we're going from one thing to the other, right? And so that's a clear indicator that we have stepped away from God's original plan for us, and we need to return to it. We need to return to it. So according to, and what I put here, and I also he brought me to, once I went to the Bible, he brought me to my book, right? You see it's really used, right? So this is a book that I, to be honest with you, I'm just a conduit for God. I really was just, I really was a conduit for him. And so restoring your temple. And so he was like, I need for you to go back to here. And so I did. And so we went to the first chapters about going to, returning God's to original plan for the lives. And one of the things that he brought me to while I was writing this book was God's original plan for us, right? If you go to Genesis, and I have it here, let me see. Thank you, Lord. It says in chapter 1, going to God's original plan. In Genesis 1:26 and 28, the message version, God commanded us. He wanted us to thrive and live long lives and live fruitful lives. He told us to, reflect him. He created us to be God-like. We talked about that. He reflected to reflect his nature. And he told us to be, to prosper, reproduce, and fill the earth. And then he went into deeper and he got it personal with us. And that's the one that I want to talk about today, that this is one of the original plans that he had for us. And this is in 3 John 2. 3 John 2. You can look it up. And so in 3 John 2, it says, "Dear friend, I hope all is well with you and that you are healthy in your body as you're strong in your spirit." That's what 3 John, 1 and 2 states. I apologize. It's 3 John 1 and 2 states. And so because he says that, we have to understand that God's desire for us is to live a long, healthy, vibrant life, right? But you and I, me too, right? Yep. Yes, Frenchie, you and I have allowed our responsibilities, the cares, our life's responsibility, the cares of life. We've allowed, just everything to take center stage and remove him from the center of our lives. And so because of that, we have worn this superwoman cape, or we can call it, if you want to call it, the work martyr badge, with such honor, that we help everyone, we fix everything, and we do everything, and always on the move. And that has been a detrimental impact to our bodies, spiritually, to our bodies, to our souls, and to our spirits. And that's why one of the other things that I want to talk about today is that we have to become an active participant of our health. We have to become an active participant of our health. And another aspect that he brought to me was another chapter, because in this book, what I do talk about is the 7 steps to a healthier you. But before you get into it, the first portion of the book, it talks about 8 temple destroyers. So temple destroyers are things that put your temple, your body, in ruins, right? And so, and then the 7 steps to help, to a healthier you, are those things that can help you to build your body, to restore your body, restore your temple from being in ruins, or for it impacting you to the capacity that you are challenged with diseases, right? And so one of the temple destroyers that I addressed was the first one, and it came from my military background. I am an Air Force veteran, and we had to do a lot of military training. I had the opportunity to work alongside the Army and the Marines a lot as a security forces member, and we had to learn a lot of military tactics. And I also was a professional military education instructor. I taught first line supervisors on how to become leaders, and so I was introduced to this like super dope book, and I never thought that God would use this book for me to understand the kingdom strategies. But it's called The Art of War from Shang Tzu. I might be butchering his name, but one of the things that I identified as a temple destroyer is not knowing yourself and not knowing your enemy, right? The enemy of your soul, the enemy of your temple, and the enemy of your spirit. And so, which are all in the same. He just used different tactics to attack, to kill, steal, and destroy in those areas. So Shang Tzu says in the book, it's called The Art of War. It says, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. And so that's why it's so important that you become an active participant in your health. And so I was like, okay, so how is this going to, come into play, God? Like, make it make sense to me. And so one day, while I was in service, I remember one of the kids were like, they were just, they call them hand babies, right? And so I was in the back of the service and I was looking, and so God, gave me a moment where I was able to observe and observe with the answer that I asked him. I asked him a question of like, okay, how does this make sense? And so what he told me was, as I was sitting back there, right, and I was looking at the church, he was showing me how many people are struggling with diseases, right? How many people in the church are struggling with diseases, and also, with weight management issues, and how that turns into, diseases. And he also showed me not just the physical component, but also there's spiritual components as well with that, right? And so I was like, okay, that for me was like the beginning of like the journey on how I wrote this book. And so the two of the root issues that we do not honestly know is ourselves and our enemy. And so because we don't take the time to know that, that's where the verse, that this is one of the verses that highlights itself, is that, people people perish due to lack of knowledge. And so this is what happens. We don't gain the knowledge, or we're not privy to the knowledge. And because we don't have the knowledge, we can't get a greater understanding, sink our teeth into it. And then once we get that understanding, also have the will to apply it so that it can become wisdom, right? And we can change lifestyles. And another component, what he told me, he says, we've allowed our personal experiences, irrational beliefs, and society to distort who we are and how God and how he created us. So for you and I to live an optimal, healthy life, we must have a firm understanding of these two things, of who we are naturally and who we are spiritually, because these things are going to identify who we are, and will be rooted and grounded in the truth. And we all know that when we know the truth, it sets us free. And once we're rooted and grounded in it and on it, then whatever distractions or disbeliefs that come into play will not take place, because we have cultivated the truth in our hearts and in our minds. So how do we do that? The first two things that I want you to do is, I would like for you to do is do a medical and a spiritual history of your life and also your family's life, right? And once you do that, and I go into details about this in my book, it literally asks you, the Holy Spirit led me, because there's also prophetic words in there. It's amazing love letters that God has written to you in every chapter. Well, not every chapter, throughout the book, and also gives you action steps to take. And so these are the action steps that you can go even further if this is what you desire, to restore your temple, so you can have a better understanding and talk about, these, and apply these strategies. Ask yourself these questions. Okay, what are some trends? Like, once you write that, you write, what are some trends that you see? What is the root issue of this? Is this an open door that we have opened spiritually and physically? Where's this, for example, where's this, where's cancer coming from? If it's a trend, if like 2 or 3 or 4 people in our family has it, okay, where's it coming from? what's the common cancer that we see in our family? Okay, spiritually speaking, what open doors are open to that? What, what is this? And I'm talking about healing and deliverance now, y'all, because what we're talking about here at Restoration from Within is to equip you and going back to God's original plan. So I got to keep it all the way 100 with you and keep it funky, right? And so you have to, in some portions, you're going to have to, and I'm not saying that cancer has always to do with a curse or anything like that. I'm just saying you have to find the root issue. What are there any open doors? Is this like a curse that has been brought upon into our family? And if it's not, okay, let's focus on the physical aspect of it. What can we do in the physical area? How can we become active participants of our health? I'm jumping ahead of myself, but do you see how that that can take place? Or any other thing, whatever it is, a trend. For me, when I did this discovery, I realized that in my family, in my culture, what we centered food around every type of gathering, whether it was a death in the family, whether it was a celebration, whether it was this food was always at the center of anything that brought us together, or even by ourselves. So there was an emotional attachment to the food, right? I remember we used to have a joke, in my family. Oh, your big toe hurt. Let's throw a party, because my family, my neutral family, we love, we used to love hosting parties, and so if we had an opportunity to do that, by all means. And guess who was at the center of it? My grandfather, my grandmother, making some amazing meals. And so that brought me into deeper. Okay, what are these meals are made out of? What are our cultural traditions? What was the origin of us eating these meals? And so it just, a medical history turned into cultural history, the description of like their ingredients, knowing, okay, where do these ingredients come from? What's the original thing from them, right? And so that's what I'm just telling you. You're just gonna go into an amazing discovery when you do that, right? And so that's what I'm telling you. That's the first thing I want you to know. Become an active participant of your health by researching your family and your medical and spiritual history, right? And the next thing that I want you to do, and remember that this might go even to the capacity of healing and deliverance. So the next thing I want you to know is your blood and your body type. Your blood and your body type. Your blood type. There's an amazing book. I should have been more prepared, and I apologize. I don't have it here. It's from John D'Adamo. John D'Adamo. It's Know Your Blood Type, right? Eat Right for Your Blood Type. I apologize. It's called Eat Right for Your Blood Type. I thought I had it here, but it's Eat Right for Your Blood Type. And so it gives you a better description if you want to know what's going to help you to increase or decrease your weight, or manage your weight, or eat healthier things. For example, my husband, he's a different blood type than I am. He thrives on proteins. My blood type doesn't thrive on proteins because I don't have the same enzymes that he has in his stomach to break it down. So because I don't have the same enzymes, it takes me longer to break down protein, which in him, he thrives on it. Like it gives him the inertia to do things. It's a life source for him. So knowing your blood type will help you to have a more clear indicator. And so knowing your body type, and I remember it's somatic type. That's what it is. So knowing your body type helps you also to have a clear understanding what works for you and your body type. My girlfriend, she's an amazing chica. I want you to follow her at ignite.ga. And so she's Coach Mel, and she just started a series. And if you follow my stories on Instagram, Restoration from Within, on Instagram, you'll see that I shared in my stories her series. She's starting a series and she's describing body types. So what inspired her? I would like to say that I inspired my girl, but there's some things that are happening. So in the social media streets, in IG, there was an amazing, her name is Healthy Rican, and there was she sells some amazing seasonings, and I'm going to get into that as well. And they're clean seasonings for those in the Caribbean and Puerto Rican culture, right? It's called Healthy Rican. And so somebody sent a disparaging message. And so they were like, oh, here this, I don't want to misquote it, but pretty much it was just saying how a fat person is talking about, healthy eating or living healthy. And so the what was identified by that person saying that is that they've fallen prey to the culture that being skinny equals being healthy, and that is not true. Just because you're skinny, it does not mean that you are healthy. There was a season in my life when I was in the military. My breakfast was 2 cigarettes. I used to smoke at least a pack and a half or 2 packs of cigarettes, 2 packs a day. And I was drinking Pepsi. If you cut me, I bled Pepsi, And so, and you put me next to a person who has not the same body type as mine, and they are doing everything that they're doing to live a healthy lifestyle, and they are active participants in their life. You would end up trying to choose me because that's what the culture of this world wants you to do. It wants to keep you at this immature level. But if you know your body and you understand about body types, you know that God did not create us the same. We're fearfully and wonderfully made. And yes, once you know your body type, once you know your body, once you listen to your body, and once you do this research of your medical history and spiritual history, and also of your family, this builds a clear foundation for you. And of course, invite the Holy Spirit in so he can guide you in all things, because that's what he's here for. I mean, Jeremiah 33:3, it states that, ask me and I will show you all these things, right? And so the first thing that we want to do, again, just to do a clear recap for those that are here, this is Temple Talk Live. I'm Kat Pons, the restoration coach. And we talked about, how to honor. We're talking about how to honor and love our temples. We started off by having a clear foundation of what we need to do. We need to glorify God with our spirits and with our bodies, right? And we came from 1 Corinthians 6:12 and 13. And then once we got a better understanding about that, then we sunk our teeth in, and that has shifted our perspective into knowing how to love our bodies, because we are honoring it, because it's God's temple, right? And then we talked about becoming an active participant in our health. And so one of the things that I highly encourage you to do, again, is research your medical history and your family's medical history and your spiritual history as well. And go on that trail, that journey, because it's not only going to empower you into knowing more about your culture or your nationality or how things work, but you're also going to find things that are detrimental to your health, and also things that you still want to keep as a tradition, and also things that you want to find healthy alternatives to. And then knowing your blood type and your body type, and learn to listen to your body and learn your body personally. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is becoming health conscious consumer. So, and that's what's going to help you, not just what you put into your body, but also what you put on your body. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, this is the revelation that God has given me. So whether you want to become a vegan, vegetarian, whole foods, Whole30, pescatarian, whatever it is, raw vegan, whatever it is, 80-20, and that's, based off of the Pareto's principle, where you eat 80% healthy of the time, and then 20 is a free for all until you get to 100%. You don't just stay there. So whatever it is that you're doing, one of the revelations that God has shown me is to eat clean. And so we can have a strong foundation of what eating clean is to eat foods that are close as possible to their natural state. These foods that are close to their natural state as possible may be organic, most likely with minimal use of any chemical additives and preservatives. A clean diet includes whole foods, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, and healthy fats, while limiting highly processed foods, snacks, and packaged foods with added sugar and salt. So that's what clean eating means. And so why is this so important? Because we have to be very aware of what we're eating, especially if you think it's that you're eating healthy. Remember, when you look at a package, right? You're looking at a package. The front of the package is for entertainment. That's the hook and switch. That's what's called in marketing. It's for entertainment, and then when you flip it, that's where the education. The back of the package is for education. And so I just want to give you that tip. Always turn it around. Become an informed consumer by looking at the ingredients. And one of the things that we do in our recharge, our 6-week coaching program, we really dig into that. We lay a strong foundation into that. And I have the opportunity to teach you how to read labels, not just the ingredients, but what everything means in that and the ingredients list, so that you can become an informed consumer. And also we dig deep and sink our teeth in what eating clean is and what is not. So this is really good. I'm glad that I'm sharing. Like, I'm just throwing it out there, but I'm really sharing some good information today. So, okay, so not just with becoming an informed consumer when you're in the aisles, but you also have to be an informed consumer with what you are eating from the produce section. Unfortunately, there's a lot of manipulation of the foods that we're eating, like fruits and vegetables, and we have to be aware of those things. One of the ways that we are aware of those things is by looking at the code. Know the code. So when you go to the produce section, and the orange or the single apple or the package has a code, right? It's usually a 4 or 5 digit code. And you could tell that they're transitioning from that, because I don't see the codes as much, only on single fruits and vegetables. But it's a code, right? And in that code is a 4 to 5 digit code. Whatever that code starts with, it's telling you how that fruit or vegetable was cultivated. So I'm gonna give you the tea right now. So 9 is fine. Remember that 9 is fine. So 9 means that it was organically grown. 9 is fine. It means that it was organically grown, right? 8 is not great. 8 is not great. Whenever you see the code that starts with 8, that means that it has been genetically modified. And that's what we need to be aware of, because it was genetically modified. Imagine what that GMO is doing in your body. Okay? And then the last one, it'll start with a 3 or a 4. It means that, 3 or 4, it's okay. However, it means that it was grown with some herbicides and pesticides. And we want to be as clean as possible. Another option that you can do is you can go to the Environmental Working Group, EWG, Environmental Working Group, and you can get their app, EWG, Environmental Working Group, and you can get their app. And in their app, it'll have the Dirty Dozen list and the Clean 15 list. So the Dirty Dozen list is the top dozen fruits and vegetables that you should buy organic, right? So for those who are budget minded, this is a great way to do that. Those that you absolutely don't want to get because they are whether you get it with some herbicides and pesticides or GMO, it's really going to do more damage than good to your body. Those options you can purchase. You could take the list with you. You can get the app. You can open up that section, and you can tell which ones are on the Dirty Dozen list. And then they also have a Clean 15 list, and those you can get with the 3 and 4 codes, because they're good to go. And so the Environmental Working Group is one of it establishes a high standards. But they not only do that for fruits and vegetables, they also do it for cosmetics. They also do it for cleaning products. They do it for a lot of items, even for equipment. And so the Environmental Working Group, you can go up there and look at equipment, products, not just skincare products, but vitamins. I'm trying to think of products, skincare, and equipment. So those are the 2 that I'm recommending for you. And so now that we talked about clean eating, now we're going to get into clean beauty products. So these are cosmetics and skincare products that are free from harmful chemicals like parabens, sulfates, or any other chemicals that you can find on there. These products are formulated with non-toxic, safe, and often organic or high-quality natural ingredients. And so, because this is just as important as what you put in your body, we often neglect our largest organ in our body, which is actually our skin. And shameless plug, RFW Bath and Body Care products. We are strong conduits of not just helping you to live eat clean, but also to live a clean life with the products that you're utilizing in your home. And we introduce these products as well. All our products are non-toxic. They're clean products, and they're created from high quality ingredients, because I desire for you to have a peaceful and clean experience, a cleansing experience that not just benefits your skin, but to also know that it's free from chemicals. A lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people are, there's an increase of people experiencing eczema and psoriasis. And those are some skin sensitivities that require clean products, because they're highly irritant when they use chemicals, when they use cleaning products or detergents that have chemicals in it, or perfumes. Perfumes are, unfortunately, there's an ingredient in it. It's called phthalate, and so it's like a liquid plastic per se that is attached to the perfume, so the perfume scent can stick to whatever the product is being used, whether the detergent, the soap, or whatnot. However, phthalate is a carcinogenic. So what that means, that it's, it can cause cancer. So it's a carcinogenic. So when you are purchasing products for your skin or detergents or anything like that, look into the back of the ingredients and make sure that what they're utilizing has no perfumes, or if they're using a scent that is phthalate free. And so those are some tips that I just wanted to come up here and share with you today. And I wanted to, come back to my girl's story, right? About knowing, you have to know your body type. And unfortunately, a lot of people have fallen prey to the belief system that skinny means healthy, and that is not true. And so I had some choice words. I've repented since then. But I want you to know and understand that if you are in your journey and you start learning who you are, start learning whose you are, start learning your medical history, start eating clean, and and also being physically active as well, and utilizing clean products, and doing that, history search on your medical history and your family's medical history, and learning to, and becoming an active participant of your health. Trust me when I tell you that you're going to meet the standards that God has set upon you. You're going to go back to God's original plan for your life, and you're going to detach yourself from this matrix of this world that has superficial values, and bringing you down to the level of their mentality, instead of living high up. When they go high, when they go low, we go high. Really, that's biblical, because you are seated in high places, and we got to maintain ourselves there into the standards that God has set upon us. I might not be the same body type as my sister or my brother. However, wherever God has us, he's going to take us to where he desires us to be. Does that make sense? So that's why it's so important that you honor your temple and love your temple as well, and go back to God's original plan for your life. I hope that this has blessed you. I pray that you share it with somebody else, so that they can know and understand the truth that's going to set them free on the kingdom counter culture of kingdom wellness, holistic wellness, the path to kingdom holistic wellness, the one that God desires for you and I to live. And if you would like to learn more, please join our RFW newsletter. And when you join our RFW newsletter, you actually receive a Renew and Restore manifestos with 10 easy steps for you to restore from within, not tomorrow, not the next day, but today. And you can do that by going to our website, www.restorationfromwithin.com, www.restorationfromwithin.com. I'm super excited to have spent some time with you today. I know I'm a little over time, but I really wanted for this to sink in. Please go to my stories on Instagram and also on Facebook, because I'm going to share some information. Remember, I'm going to share the information with Coach Mel. She just started her series on learning your body type. I'm also going to share some amazing seasonings. So if you like me, you like some sazon and some adobo, I'm gonna give you a healthy alternative in my stories so that you can invest in your health and clean eating. And also, I'm also going to add some RFW products. We're in the lab right now. We're about to get in the lab right now to make some more. So thank you for your patience. But in March we'll be vending as well. So stay tuned. Join our newsletter because you get the tea first. All right. www.restorationfromwithin.com. I love you to life.